Good morning, and this morning I wanted to make a very quick video talking about how to use the Xbox One controller with the Switch. And I've already made a couple of videos talking about how to use the Xbox One controller with the PlayStation, and I thought, well, if you've got an Xbox One controller lying around and you've just got a Switch, or if you've had a Switch for a while and you haven't got round to buying a Pro controller yet, one of these, then you may want to use this one. And well, not this particular one, but a Xbox controller. And it does work very well. And the way I've done it is to use the 8bitdo USB wireless adapter. And that's a Bluetooth adapter. And that allows you to use lots of different controllers. Now, just one caveat. If you're going to use an Xbox controller, it has to be one of the newer ones with the plastic here as all one complete bit. If you've got one of the older controllers with a separate part here with a black piece in here, then that's not going to work because it hasn't got Bluetooth. The other way to tell is if you look, this one has an adapter or a jack for a headphone. If it's got a headphone jack, it will be a Bluetooth enabled controller. Unfortunately, this won't work with the Xbox Elite controller, although it will work with the Elite controller that's coming out later in the year, because the Elite controller that's coming out later in the year has got Bluetooth on board, whereas the current one hasn't. But anyway, enough preamble. How do you go about doing this? Well, the first thing you do before you can set it up, you want to go into Settings. And if you go all the way down to Controllers and Sensors, and then across, if you look at here, the third one down, Pro Controller Wired Communication. Now that has to be on. Once that's turned on, then you can start sorting it out and setting it up. Let's just go home. And you would get into this. Let's just open this one up if I can, because I know this box has been a pain for me before. And it's being a pain for me now. Always wants to rip. You open this up and that's basically it. That's what you get. You can get a brown one as well, but I prefer the grey one. And I actually bought this for my PlayStation Classic, but I'm using it with the Switch at the moment. And it's basically a USB adapter. So, as I say here, on here it gives you some instructions. The instructions are fairly straightforward, but you have to break this little white piece here. I just ran a little knife along it, and then you can pull, it's quite tight, you can pull the cover off, and it reveals the USB connector. Now on the other end, you've got a little button. Now that is to sync the controller with the device that you've got this plugged into. So what you would do is you would plug this into the Switch in this case, and then once that's plugged in, you would press and hold this for about, I think it's 3 seconds until it starts flashing rapidly. Once it's flashing rapidly, then you can press and hold. You would need to turn it on first. You turn this one on, and then you would press and hold the sync button on the Xbox controller. Once you've done that, it should eventually, this will go solid, as will the light on here go solid. And when that happens, you'll get a rumble in this and it'll sync up. So just bear with me. I'm going to do that now. Right, let's turn this on. And if I press and hold this, it should start flashing. And did you hear that? That made a little rumble then. And it's now gone solid. And the proof of the pudding is in the eating. Excuse the little sound there, because that was me kicking my glasses over. Hopefully they're still working. So anyway, this is now on. So it should work with the Switch. So let's just check. And it's working with the menus, so that's fine. Now, you will need to bear in mind that whenever you go into a game, it's going to ask you for the switch controls. So if we look here, and just to prove that one is on, so it still works. That one is working. But if we put them side by side, I'm not touching this one, or one on top of the other, and then I do it again. Not touching the Switch controller, so it is working with the Xbox controller. But as I was saying, if you look on here, you've got A, B, X and Y, whereas on the Xbox you've got A, B, X and Y, and they're completely the other way around, so they're kind of switched over. Now, that's going to be an issue when you're playing games, because when it says to press A, it will be B on the Xbox controller, and when it says X, it will be Y, when it says Y, it will be X, and when it says B, it will be A. So you just have to bear that in mind. So we've shown it working with the menus, so just let's go into a game and show that it's working with a game. So first things first, I'm going to close the software and close that. As you notice, I'm pressing B rather than A. And we'll just go into that again. So if I press B to load it, and then I select Joe Chip, and it should load up Road Redemption. Now, I don't know if you guys have played Road Redemption, but it is a fun game. It's very old school in as much as it's very much like Road Rash. And it generates the tracks differently each time you play it. So it's got a lot of replay value. The controls are a bit clunky. They feel very much like Road Rash. In other words, they're very kind of floaty and all over the place. And I have encountered some bugs with the game, but it is a good game. And it's a good one to show that this is working pretty well. So just let it load up. And it says press A to start. So as you can see here, it's not A, it's going to be B. So if I press B now, yep, and then we can go up and down with the thumb pad or the joypad or with the left thumbstick. So let's go into continue campaign, and you would press B again. And we're going into the campaign. Let's just put that down for a second and wait for it to load. Press any button to join. Right, so I'm in there. Just take that bike. I'm not going to play this for long. I'm just showing you that it works. As you can see, it's randomizing the tracks. Right, we're in. So again, it says press A, which would be B on the Xbox controller. And we're in.
Put in a call to some of our allies in the area. Keep your eyes open. They're here to help.
I'm not going to do this very well because I'm kind of leaning at a funny angle. See if I can get that pick up. I've got a gun now, so I should be able to. Right. Ha! He's one of ours, I think. Yeah. Gone all the way over. Oh, here we go. But as you can see, I'm using this control. I'm looking at the controller rather than the screen. And the controls are the wrong way up for me. I missed it. Got him. Right, and if you double tap the trigger, if I've got any, I don't know if I've got any nitro at the moment. I've got a little bit. Oh, did well there. Yeah, nitro. Double tap the right trigger and it gives you nitro. So anyway, look, as you can see, that's working fine.
Find your aim out here.
And I actually think the Xbox controller is marginally better than the Switch controller, especially as you've got analog triggers, although I haven't tested them, but I doubt they'll work as analog triggers. They'll probably just work like a button, like this one does. But yeah, it works perfectly well. As I say, you have to use a Bluetooth version of the Xbox controller, but other than that, get back to the menu, it works perfectly well. So if you're interested in using an Xbox controller, the 8bitdo adapter works perfectly. And yeah, I think the Xbox controllers are a little bit cheaper than the Switch controllers, so that might be something that induces you to use one of those as well. But anyway, I may make another video talking about how to get the Elite controller working with the Switch, and that requires a different method. And those of you who've watched my videos before will know that I'm quite keen on the Brook adapter. And you can actually use the Brook adapter with the Switch, and that will get you over the problem of needing a Bluetooth controller, because the Bluetooth is built into the Brook adapter. So I may do a video talking about how to get the Elite working, and if you're interested in that, let me know in the comments. But for now, that's done. And I'm going to go and get myself a cup of tea. And I'll speak to you guys in the next one. Bye.